What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and it's Halloween, evidently. And I just gotta say, the background of this looks absolutely amazing, especially with gorgeous Leona right in the front cover. I know. I really talk a lot about Leona, but there are some good things in this Halloween event, and there are some things that I do question a little bit. So the first thing is we have the new Dreaming Halloween Party Rush Dungeon. Now, this is actually a very good thing. There's actually some pretty quality things in here. For one, you're going to be able to get rubies every single day. You'll be able to get 50 rubies from here, and you'll be able to get 50 rubies from the volume 2, which is pretty cool. That's an extra 100 rubies a day during this entire event, and that's nice. And as many of you know, whenever you play the Rush Dungeon, just make sure that you're using all these characters. They're going to give you these coin buff gains, so that way you can get these coins right here, and you'll be able to come in here. Now, this is what's pretty nice. For one, we get an option card it's a decent option card. Increase active skill damage by 3.5%, and this is actually going to go up. And then it also can gain power upon landing an active skill, and there's no cooldown on this. And then you have increased penetration. It's a pretty decent little card, not too bad. Could come in useful in some situations, so not bad. It's free cards, we can't complain. And then we also have a Halloween Fest selector. Now, this is actually really, really good for this event, and I'll explain why here in a little bit, but the fact that they're going to give us a Halloween Fest selector is awesome. You know, there's only two choices. You got Chris and Alice, both terrific characters. I have told many of you that you should level up Halloween Chris, especially because of his leadership for Purple Fighters and increased attack. He's just amazing, especially in certain Immortal Dungeons because of Dot Explosion, because of Darkness. Really great character. Alice is actually a really good character too. Also has good, strong poison damage. She's got a lot of power. So that's pretty awesome that they did that. And you also have the two Halloween Fighters selectors here, and this is cool. Now, a big reason why this is actually good is because we now know that the Halloween Fighters are going to get buffed. We don't know which ones. We don't know if all of them are going to get buffed. We have no idea, but it's actually really good. And the thing is, you're probably more than likely going to be using one of these characters, and definitely the Fest characters, in the zombie event. At least that's what I'm going to call it. And then they also are going to give us these moon and star-shaped cores, which is pretty cool. These are the cores that are actually going to allow you to be able to, well, get maybe a double attack moon or star-shaped stone from the craft shop. And then we have the plus Stone selection boxes, and here's what's really cool. Now, I know the United Banner doesn't hold a lot of stock for a lot of players, but for newer players, for free-to-play players early on in this game, these things, this is amazing. And these are dailies. You can get 3 of these tokens every single day, and you get 3 of those card tokens every single day. That's a blessing, man. That is freaking amazing. Not to mention the gold hammers, the purple souls, the gold souls. The gold doesn't really matter, but man, these tokens, that's awesome. This is actually pretty freaking cool that they did this. I will be doing some figuring on how much AP you're actually going to need to get all these resources. I will be talking about that in another video, but I think this is pretty awesome. You know, you're going to get 100 rubies a day. You're going to be able to get these extra resources. Really nice that they have this in here. Then they also have the protected from the ghost event here. Well, this is nice because you can get purple souls, experience balls. This is just a really easy thing to come in and play. Doesn't take a whole lot of time at all. And then we get to the one that might be a bit controversial for some players. It definitely was for me when I first looked at this, because when I first looked at this zombie rod here, right? And we've had zombie rod before. You guys can see the score that I've gotten. And I did it with that first team that you're looking at. And I'll show you the run. But the thing is, if you're a newer player in this game, like on my free-to-play account with, you know, it's about five months old, maybe going on near 6 months old now, I'm not going to be able to do this. And I'm not going to be able to do this because I don't have Halloween Chris and I don't have Alice. And honestly, man, you probably more than likely are going to need both of those characters, definitely at least one of them. And if you only are using one of them, they're going to have to be leveled up a lot. So, you know, some advice that I would give you guys is, you know, whatever your fame system is, if you are using it, you know, maybe increase the color of the characters that you're using in there. I mean, Chris is a purple, Alice is a green. That might help. And there's a big reason why I am advocating for that, because there's some really good, and there's good rewards in this. This is amazing rewards in this thing. If you take a look at the reward info, look at this. You got 30 capsules here, 30 attack capsules. You have 300 rubies. You got another 300 rubies, that's 600 rubies. You have another 300 rubies, that's 900 rubies. And then look at this. They put a BS memory in here, but you got to score 100 million points to be able to do this. And this is what I mean by you're going to need, I mean, you got elite hammers, you got 50 more capsules. I mean, there's a lot of goodness in these rewards. These are really, really awesome rewards. And the fact that they put a BS memory in here is awesome. It really is. You know, I don't want to complain about it, but I just know that there's going to be a lot of players. I know a lot of players in my Discord. They can't do this. You know, I mean, this event is going to last for some time. So it'll give you a little bit of time to maybe get some of those selectors from the Rush Dungeon. Maybe you can level up your characters, but it's tough, guys. I mean, and if you do have Halloween Coolest 3PG, you know, SS Coolest 3PG, that's going to come in very, very handy in here because there's no like PG requirement. Like your PG is going to build very, very fast no matter what leadership you're actually using in this dungeon. It's not like the other Immortal Dungeon, so it's actually much easier in that respect. But 100 million points is a lot. That's a lot of points to score, and you're only going to have 2 teams to be able to do it with. And you can only use the Halloween fighters. You know, that was kind of the thing I was bummed out about, is that they're forcing you to use them. Now, on one hand, it's good because, you know, we complain all the time about wanting to use our gold border characters. Well, now we have that opportunity. But whenever you see a BS memory for 100 million points, you're kind of thinking to yourself, oh man, I really wish I could use, like, you know, maybe my BS character or my SS characters, or, you know, just some of the regular Fest characters. Because, man, the Halloween characters right now, they're just not very strong. They're not very good at all, except for Chris and Alice. Those are the 2 big dogs. I mean, those are the 2 characters that you really want on these teams, whether they're on team 1, team 2, it really doesn't matter. There's no special effect applied here at all. And as far as Chris, I mean, my Chris is built up. That's another thing. You know, a lot of players might not have these characters built up, but really when it comes to Halloween Chris, this is a character that people should have built up. This is a character that I've recommended multiple times to level up for Immortal Dungeons and put imprint stones on them. You know, I put the attack, double attack with, well, I mean, I got burn damage here because I didn't have a darkness at the time. But, you know, just double attack stones or HP, you know, stones from the Immortal Dungeon, you can slap on him. And then, you know, I'm just running the 7 nice set that increases the darkness. But every time he does die explosion, he actually removes it. And then we just got the option card there. And I'm using Chris's 5PG because his 5PG has a fairly long animation versus his 3PG. And since you can build up your PG super fast in this, using the 5PG is actually better because it lasts longer. I did a couple test runs, and definitely the 5PG, I get more damage out of it throughout the entire fight because it's just a longer lasting animation. It stalls the timer a lot longer, which is pretty nice. Kula here, I mean, and Kula is, by the way, getting the PG rate leadership from Chris, so she's actually getting a lot of extra PG rate. And I'm just running the Akane set, just a regular 3PG that we always have available in the game. She doesn't have any imprint stones on her at all. She doesn't have any capsules. She's got 39,600 CP. And then Alice here, I actually leveled up Alice. Originally I had her at 1 star, and I went ahead and took her up to 3 stars because I did have a couple of selectors. And this is what I mean what's good about the Rush Dungeon. At least they're going to give you 1 free selector. So I mean, it's good, and I don't want to complain about it. I just wish they would have dropped the requirement for the BS memory. I just wish it wouldn't be 100 million, maybe like 70 million, you know, something like that, a little bit lower. But at the same time, it does reward veteran players. And also in Alice, I don't have any imprint stones, no capsules, and we're just running the KS set on her. She doesn't even have a fully maxed out 5PG. So I'll go ahead and bring up this run for you guys. And, you know, we might watch it all, we might not. We'll see. Let's bring this sucker up. Here we go. All right. Now, this one team can hit that 100 million, but I mean, you know, if you have a 3-star Chris and you have a 3-star Alice, both leveled up with imprint stones on them, I guarantee you could do this, especially if you have another. I mean, if you have 3-star characters, you could do it. But, you know, and some people might have Halloween Kula. They might have imprint stones on her because of Immortal Typhon. She does have the freeze. She does have the type advantage, so a lot of people might have her leveled up. More than likely, I've always avoided leveling up, putting imprint stones on characters that I don't really use that often. Like if I just use them for 1 Immortal Dungeon, I try not to put stones on them, unless you love them. You know, you want to put stones on them. But the idea is to get that meter. You want to get it down to about 46. That's about 100 million points. And yeah, and I mean, it doesn't matter what dot you bring in here. It doesn't matter at all. You're just trying to apply as much damage as fast as possible. And all I'm doing is just trying to use my 3 PGs, my 5 PGs, my core default finishers as much as possible. Anytime one of those things is ready to go, I just let it go. And with something that is nice about this Immortal Dungeon is, unlike the, well, it's not really an Immortal Dungeon, but unlike the other dungeons that you face, like the Immortal Dungeons, you, like, whenever the 5 PG is ready, you have to guard and then switch your character. Whereas with this, once the 5 PG is ready on a character, you can just switch your character and they'll automatically do their 5 PG. The PG bar won't deplete once you switch your character like it will in the other Immortal Dungeons. So that's actually really good. I mean, it's not super difficult. It's just the cap that you need to get the BS memory is pretty high. I mean, 100 million points is a lot. It really is, especially for these kinds of characters. I mean, other than Chris and Alice, I mean, they really are gods here. They are the characters that you're going to want to have and want to have leveled up. So for those of you that don't have Chris and you don't have Alice, I mean, more than likely, I mean, you're probably not going to be able to do this. You're probably not going to get the 100 million points. You're probably not going to get the BS memory. And that's kind of where I really wish that we could use some other characters for this. I mean, this is a Halloween event, and I understand we want to use our Halloween characters, but there's a side of me that thinks, man, I just wish you would have made it a little bit easier because, you know, we had the event with the SS memory where we could actually get an SS memory completely for free. Everybody could just by doing a bunch of dailies. You know, we get those little icons that we could use 3 of those icons, and then we could get the SS memory. That was awesome. But they're putting these big restrictions on the BS memory, and I don't want to complain about it because I do think it's awesome that we can get a free BS memory. The problem is, a lot of players that were able to get the SS memories before, like from that event that I just talked about, they're not going to be able to get this BS memory. I'm not going to be able to get this on my free-to-play account. There's no way. I don't have Chris and Alice. I don't have them. I just don't have the characters. I can't even, you know, even like if I get the selector, then yeah, I can choose the character, but having them at 1 star, you know, or not awakened, you're not going to be able to do this. And this is pretty damn hard. So that's kind of where I'm like, I mean, it's like, you know, Netmarble, they put a lot more value on the BS characters. And, you know, the truth is, I mean, SS characters, a lot of times are as strong or stronger. I mean, whenever Kyo showed up, look what happened. When Mai showed up, look what happened. I mean, those characters were stronger than the BS characters prior to them showing up. So it's just weird to me that Netmarble, you know, chooses to do these things. I really, really would prefer if we could just use some other characters, at least our regular Fest characters. But I don't know, you know, it's one of these deals, right, guys? It's one of these deals, you know. Some people are really going to like this. The people that are going to hit 100 million, they're going to love this. The people that won't hit 100 million, they're going to be like, man, why couldn't you just let us use our other characters, right? That's kind of how I'm looking at this because I got my main account here where I do have these characters leveled up and I can get through it, no problem. But on my free-to-play, there's no way in hell. So I got this like sour feeling because I've been playing on my free-to-play account. I've been playing for 5 to 6 months. You know, so it's a good little amount of time. And I just think, you know, at that time, you know, if you've been playing this game for 5, 6 months, you should be able to get this memory. That's kind of how I feel about it, you know. And I think I just wish Netmarble would have made it more accessible for everybody instead of the way that they've done it. I just, I don't know. It's a really effed up thing, guys. I hate seeing something that I think is really good on one hand, but yet feel kind of crappy about it on the other hand, right? It's a really 50-50 deal for me because, you know, depending on how I look at it, it really depends on how I feel about it. But I'll show you guys the score just with this one team. We're not going to watch the entire run. We don't need to. They're just about ready to finish this. But like I said, once you get down at really about 45 there, that's really when you've done enough damage. And yeah, we got it right now. We'll queue it up. And you know, I mean, by the way, your survivability is going to be really good here too, man. This boss doesn't really do that much damage at all. Like, it's not that hard really to keep him alive, at least from what I could see. And then we're going to end up showing the timer here in a second. There you go. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it. So you guys can see that, you know, we hit 104 million just with the one team, right? And if you do have Alice and Chris and you do have them leveled up, you're going to be able to queue this up. You're going to be able to do it. But if you don't have them leveled up, more than likely you're not going to be able to do this, because unfortunately the Halloween characters just aren't very strong. And now what I'd like to see and what I hope to see is that some of these characters get buffed up before this event ends. If that happens, that would soften the blow a little bit for a lot of the players that won't be able to do this. So, but I have no idea if Netmarble is going to do it. Another thing that they did that was actually pretty good is that you can play this pretty much unlimited amount of times. So if you don't get it done with your team, you can try it again and again and again in hopes to get the 100 million. So, I mean, that's a good thing. But let me know how you're all feeling about the zombie dungeon and everything else that we talked about today. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.